Thank you. Thank you, everybody, and a very warm welcome to the Red Sox Sports Club, and for this, the celebration of Gordy's life. And of course, a very, very special welcome to Gordy's mum and dad and sister, Pat, Jimmy and Fiona, who've come all the way from Scotland, and we are so blessed to have you with us and for we to be with you. And it's been a joy in knowing your son and your brother. Also a special welcome to Gordy's two sons, Declan and Joe, his mum, to his other son, Jack, and his mum, Sandra, and her husband, Brian. On behalf of the family, I'd like to thank the members of the Red Sox Club and friends for your tremendous support. And they have been overwhelmed by the way you have rallied together to organise this celebration of his life. They have taken great comfort knowing Gordy was loved so much, and it has definitely helped them come to terms with his passing. At the door as you came in, you will see that there is a tribute book, and they would be very grateful if you were able to make sure that you've signed that so that they can take that back with them to Scotland. Now, I must admit to being a little bit nervous about today's proceedings, and I know some of my fellow speakers are feeling a little bit the same. So today, during this celebration, if you feel like laughing, then laugh loud. If you feel like crying, then cry freely. If you feel like applauding, clap with thunder. And if you feel like dancing in the aisles, go ahead and do it. For today is the day for everyone to express their true emotions. If we had to sum up Gordy's life in a couple of words, they would certainly be passion and they would certainly be humour. The family welcome you sharing with passion those humorous stories about Gordy today in this celebration of his life. And there will be an opportunity for you to do so a little later in the proceedings when we open up the floor. Following the formal side of the proceedings, Gordy will be taken away for final preparation, and the family will remain with us for a while for a little bit more sharing and no doubt a wee dram or two, Jimmy. Hey, hi. At the appropriate time, the family will just sneak away for a private cremation, but they will return within the hour. And then they will depart New Zealand on Wednesday and take with them half of Gordy's ashes, so that in the future there will be a place to visit him both in New Zealand and in Scotland. To begin today, I'd like to read out on behalf of the family what they forwarded to us upon hearing the news about Gordy, a little bit about his earlier life, and they sent us very quickly before boarding the plane to come to New Zealand. Gordon Stewart Moran. Gordon was born in Springboard, Glasgow, Scotland on the 5th of October 1966. He was the son of James and Patricia Moran and sister of Fiona. He was a mischievous child who often went wandering, although they never expected him to wander halfway around the world. Gordon worked in the Croat Anna Hotel at Fort William, where he met Joanne. They returned here to Joanne's homeland of New Zealand, and this is where their son Declan, now 17, was born. Later, Gordon went on to marry Sandra, and they had their son Jack, now 11. Gordy doted on his two boys and was a very proud dad. Gordy had a variety of jobs during his working life, but his proudest achievement was undoubtedly the period he spent working on the windmills in the Tararua Ranges. He considers them his legacy, and of course it's something that we, as members, can look out to whenever we're at the club rooms and remembering Gordy. He loved his football. He coached and played for several Red Sox teams, starting with the Thirsties, then the Legends, and most recently the Saints. He loved his Saturdays playing football and then celebrating, win, lose or draw, with his mates at the dressing rooms and of course afterwards at the club rooms. When Gordy first came to New Zealand, he was an ardent Glasgow Celtic supporter, and that never diminished. But over recent years, his allegiance grew more towards Liverpool, hence the song that we sang for him, which is the song for both of those clubs, You'll Never Walk Alone. To capture some of the special moments of Gordy's life in Red Sox, please join with me in welcoming up Marty O'Connor. Thank you, Marty.
Well, welcome everybody. Welcome especially to the family from Scotland. And we know we've had people travel from around the country as well to be here today. Is that better? Can you hear me now? Okay, welcome everybody. Especially to those who have travelled many miles from Scotland, from around the country. It's absolutely magic to see so many people here. Gordy would be smashed. So while I remember, when you do go to the bar later on, we want nobody going home in a fucking ambulance tonight. Anyway, Gordy, where do you start? Where do you stop? He was one of those guys that in the same breath you could love him and you could hate him. But once you got through that shell, that facade, he was a big soft cuddly, like he used to call himself as well. But his passion, his heart came through. And in that space, basically, he loved a bit of banter. So if you didn't give as good as you got, you were in for it. And if you got into a point where he was in the corner, then you'd be subjected probably to a Glaswegian accented tirade of 4-letter words that you wouldn't be able to bloody understand anyway. As we all know, when you subjected us to many of his attempts at aftermatch speeches in his various guise as a coach, and I use that term loosely, although he took great pride in what the Saints achieved this year, and they'll speak to that a wee bit soon, where we often used to take the mickey out of him a wee bit and ask for a translator when he was up there giving the speech. But Gordy came to the club through Dave O'Brien, who's our resident technician. Dave's still with the club, has been for many years, and he introduced him, so he's responsible. And this is Dave going around sorting out the TVs as I speak. And through that, back in those days, we had a team that was called the Thirds, and being a social bunch of guys, it didn't take much longer for them to call themselves the Thirsty Thirds, and then the Thirds got dropped. And to the credit of the team spirit that existed back then, most of those guys are here today. Even though some of them have moved on to different parts of the country or whatever, you know, that's the type of spirit that was established. And those guys, and Gordy especially, brought that spirit to the wider club as well, where you can see the effort that's gone into assembling today has been on the back of many dozens of people putting their hand up, even if it's just little things like making the sandwiches, or we had a fella who hasn't been in the club for the last 2 or 3 years, but he was down here yesterday painting and whatever. You know, absolutely magic. So Gordy was instrumental in that kind of spirit being fostered and put together within the club. On a personal level, Gordy was in the Thirsties, and I was playing for a team for the Wrinklies. And back in the day, we used to have some awesome challenges, to the point where, it was getting pretty tense, pretty serious at some stage, but we'd always come back and share a good laugh over a few drinks and a few more again, just to make sure. And out of that, a tremendous bond that was established between those two teams that again is still prevailing today. I had to make some notes because I knew I'd lose my thread. The Club Awards was a place where Gordy also managed to get his presence felt, and he was recognised at a Club Personality of the Year award on 2 occasions over the time he was with us. He did a couple of stints on the committee, and in addition to the legacy that he's got out there in the hills, one of the things he was also proud of in the club rooms was just about single-handedly he put together the funding and the workmanship to get the carpet that you're sitting on in the club rooms. One of the years though, the Thirsties, it became known as the Thirsties Year of Awards, because one of the coaches, I'm not sure if Brian's here today, but got very enthusiastic, and there's awards for everything, except for Gordy. So I think he's still telling you about that one, Brian. Anyway, I just want to leave you with the thought that the club spirit that Gordy has contributed to and is largely responsible for within the club will live on. His legacy will remain. I thank you all again for coming. I thank you for your attention, and please stay afterwards, join in and help us celebrate and remember Gordy. Sancho.